I always think about Gulf's performance of Yummy on the pool.
No, please.
We don't talk about it.
Hey guys, welcome to LoveCast, the Boys Love podcast. I'm your host, Kayla, and with me are my co-hosts, Pixie and Alexa.
Hey.
Hello.
This week, we're joined by yet another lovely content creator. You may know her on TikTok as Let's Stay Together. Like many of us, she's a BL and K-pop fan. So today she's going to help us explore that crossover. Everybody, welcome Phoebe onto the podcast.
Hi.
Hey,
Thank
welcome.
you for having me.
So we are not doing a tea time today in our usual time slot for that because there, as you have probably seen, is some stuff going down between Russia and Ukraine. Very serious stuff. So we just want to send our support and well wishes to Ukraine and just peace. That's all I can really say as an outsider, just hoping for the best outcome for Ukraine.
Yeah, so we definitely plan to look down in the description because we are going to collect some reputable links that you can donate to, places where you can read up on information about what's going on from the people of the Ukraine and people who are directly involved in the situation. So if you're able to help and you want to send your support in some way, we'll put some information down in the description so you guys can do so. But we just wanted to acknowledge the situation because we know that it may be affecting some of you guys who listen and watch the podcast, and people all over the world are being impacted by this in many different ways. So we wanted to make sure we took a second to acknowledge it.
Yeah. Okay, so there isn't really an easy way to segue from that topic into what we're talking about today, but we are basically going to just talk about a ton of moments where BL and K-pop have crossed over on one another because we are all BL and K-pop fans.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just personally curious, Phoebe, how did you get into both BL and K-pop? And did you get into them around the same time or one after another?
Oh, it was actually a huge gap. So I got into K-pop around 2012 because of Big Bang, G-Dragon, he's my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. He's the reason why I got into K-pop, and that happened a long time ago. And then I got into BL with Love by Chance. Love by Chance was my first one, so that was 2018. So that drama also has a special place in my heart. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, same.
Kayla, I was going to say Kayla loves the OG Love by Chance.
Yeah. Yes, a lot of nostalgia connected to it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Should we take a round and explain how we all went from the pipeline?
Ooh, yes, please. I'd love to hear it.
Yeah, for Phoebe's sake at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I started out in K-pop I found K-pop in 2018, so it hasn't been long time, but it's not huge in Norway. It's really hard to find anything about K-pop here, so I managed to find it online, and it was through Stan Twitter that I found out about the Untamed and Tharntype. So that's how I ended up in finding BL again, because I read manga and stuff when I was younger, but it's sort of fell off and came back again after the K-pop phase.
Yeah, for me, K-pop was also first, and that was end of 2014, early 2015, and I found BTS and GOT7 through one of my good friends at the time, And then that kind of led to the K-drama pipeline. And the K-drama pipeline is what eventually led me to the BL pipeline in like 2017-ish with Sodas and Together With Me, which were like my first two that I watched.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so for me, I have been a K-pop fan for, I think at this point, most of my life. Started off as a fan of SHINee and FX, Teen Top, Newest, a lot of those second gen groups, I guess they'd be considered. Yeah, so started off like that. And I had kind of the same experience as Pixie, where it was like getting back into BL because I would watch like Yaoi, but never really live action BL. I guess I'd like never thought that that was even a thing. Yeah. But then when Love by Chance came out, I happened to see GIFs of it on Tumblr and I was like, I need to know what this is. So that is how I re-entered the BL world, or entered the live action BL world.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like the live action world has really like grown the last few years a lot.
Definitely.
Like I cannot name a single one that was like something people watched when I was younger.
Yeah.
Like, we had the manga and there were some like anime, but it wasn't a lot. And it was very graphic, everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so nothing can surprise me.
What do you think of the fact that so many K-pop idols have been getting involved in Korean BL? Because I feel like that is like a big thing right now.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we kind of touched on it when we did our episode on Korean BLs with Paroma from the K-drama podcast, but why am I stuttering over my words so much today?
It's my
job. Taking turns.
The K-pop idol to BL actor pipeline, there we go, has been a pretty big thing. I think last year for sure, not as much as in 2020. Like since the beginning, we've had a lot of idols from lesser known K-pop groups kind of moving into the BL sphere, which I think has been really interesting because you don't think of it as something Korean entertainment companies would like their artists to be involved in, but we have seen a lot of involvement in it.
Yeah, I find it really interesting because the actor in Semantic Error,
Soham.
Yeah, he originally he got an offer for a BL, and he turned it down because they didn't like know what it would do with his image, and like obviously now he joined in. So I wonder if there's like a change happening, but you know. It's kind of weird because when you think of K-pop, you think of like there's a culture of shipping, and K-pop is like basically BL.
It feels like it.
Yeah, like I knew about shipping long before I got involved in like live action BL. So it's kind of weird that they would and they encourage it. So it's kind of weird to me that they would think that starring in a BL show is like crossing a line, but encouraging it on stage, the fan service and everything is okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of gives off a double standard in a way, because I feel like there is something inherently homoerotic about how theatric K-pop performances are.
Yeah.
So you would think that it's a natural progression almost, but
yeah,
I guess maybe because when you see an idol performing, it's not like a flat out like declaration of anything, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that when it comes to shipping in K-pop, a lot of that is at the hands of implications of the fans, and fans kind of taking moments that they see as shippable and making it as such, and the companies and the group kind of benefit off of the work that the fans are doing in the shipping side of things. But acting in a BL is more of like an explicit purposeful action that they would be taking to openly be involved with the queer community. And I guess in a way they would take it as showing support for the queer community, which is not something that's easy to do openly still in Korea, especially when you're in the spotlight. So I feel like that's kind of where they see the difference in like fans shipping them and then going and acting in like a BL drama.
I think it's really nice how it's becoming like socially normal to act in a BL. And I think it's like really amazing how it's also like giving exposure to BL, because a lot of my K-pop friends who have never gotten into BL would start watching like Color Rush because they're fans of the boys and things like that. So I really like how it's getting bigger. Like BL isn't such a small niche anymore.
Yeah, and it's the only way we're gonna get fuller length BLs in Korea. I mean, like Semantic Error, obviously we're getting the 20 minutes episodes, but it's still just 8 episodes.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. It's not like the full length K-drama, but like, at least it's not 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. 10 minutes is very difficult to work with, especially when you have a very complicated storyline.
Side eyes at Tinted with You and Kissable Lips.
Listen. Do you have a favorite Korean BL that has come out, Phoebe?
That's really, really hard. That's a really hard question. Oh.
Yeah, it is. I don't know what I would choose.
To My Star. To My Star. To My Star is amazing. To My Star is actually really, really good.
I love it.
I don't know. I feel like the very first one that I watched is Where Your Eyes Linger.
Yeah.
So that one has a little like, it has a special place in my heart.
Yeah,
I would say.
Agreed.
Oh, and I heard like one of the actors is getting into a new BL, correct?
Yeah, with Holland.
With Holland.
Yeah.
That's a point on our list too.
Yeah.
That's definitely something to talk about. I guess it kind of fits into the idols acting in BL, but with Holland being like the only openly gay idol in Korea, like him being able to act in a BL and acting in a BL is a huge thing, I feel like.
Yeah, I find it really interesting because like since he's openly queer, how is that gonna make the BL be perceived? Because like now they can excuse it for like it's just acting, but then you have queer actors coming in and doing it too.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like when you're already openly queer, I feel like, I guess from Holland's end, like there's not much more for them to perceive because, you know, he's already gay. So they can't really put any more assumptions on him than are already out there. I don't know if it'll have any impact on, I don't know the actor's name, but his co-star in that way. You know, I don't know if it'll cause him to be perceived any differently, but that's something to think about for sure. I mean, it still is very rare in BL that we have BL overall like openly out actors. So
yeah, I actually think it's a really significant thing for both K-pop and BL because you have Holland, who is an openly gay artist and who doesn't have the backing of a company, and he still managed to succeed. So I feel like that alone could set the precedent for more openly gay artists to star in BL.
Yeah. I'm really excited to see how it goes, and I will definitely be supporting it like tenfold because I am a huge fan of Holland. 100%. So,
Me too.
Yeah. Also, I want to take credit for manifesting this because I tweeted sometime last year that Holland should be in a BL, and now he is.
Kayla's powers of manifestation are at work.
Kayla taking all the credit.
People said it couldn't happen, but guess what? It's happening.
Yeah, no, I love
but
that.
yeah, this yeah, this is also reminding me of all of the Thai actors who are friends with K-pop idols or are fans of K-pop idols who are Thai specifically.
Yeah.
Like, you know, we have Lisa in Blackpink and then Bam Bam and GOT7. And yeah, I feel like
CLC.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of Thai actors have like publicly shown their love and support for Thai K-pop idols as well. There are a lot of instances that we have written down where that's happened.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of what's the word? Is patriotism the word I'm looking for? I don't know, but I think it's
like I feel like there is a sense of pride in seeing like your people thrive.
Yeah. Because I've noticed a lot like in watching like the groups that have Thai idols in them or reactions to group that have Thai idols in them, like the Thai fans and the Thai population in general, even if they're not necessarily like hardcore K-pop fans, I would say, will like flock to those videos and support the hell out of them. So I feel like it is kind of just like the pride of seeing people from your country like thrive in an industry like the K-pop industry, which isn't easy to get into or debut in and be successful in. So I feel like having people like Lisa and Bam Bam and Sorn that are like household names for K-pop idols is probably like really, really exciting to see.
I think some people, I'm going probably on a tangent here, but I think some people who are just BL fans who haven't really been in the K-pop space aren't aware of how much K-pop has influenced BL. As you see, like there's a lot of BLs out there who started out as fan fiction.
That is true. That's a point of crossover that we've talked about before.
Yeah.
A lot of authors whose work started out as like fan fiction for certain groups and stuff like that, and then they developed them into novels. That's a big so like there's a lot of BL authors that are also K-pop fans apparently.
Yeah, I feel like K-pop's influence on Asia is so apparent, like not even just through fashion and music and series that are being adapted, but also I feel like they promote and produce shows and actors in the same way that idols are as well.
Yeah, the entertainment, the way the industries function, I think, are very similar, which lends to K-pop being very popular in Asia and Southeast Asia and vice versa. Because a lot of, there's a lot of K-pop groups that will do tours and promotions specifically centered around Asian and Southeast Asian countries. And it's the same way we've seen a lot of BL fan meets and stuff like that will happen in other Asian countries because their markets, I think, are so closely intertwined with each other. Not that I know much about marketing, but
just surface level. I feel like a lot of the marketing is so apparent that like anybody can see what's going on.
Pick up on it. Don't need a degree for that.
But yeah, some like instances where we've seen the crossover of the actors being fans of K-pop idols are like Bone, who stands Mark from GOT7, or like Pavel naming his motorcycle after Rose.
Yeah. Perth is a huge.
Has been thirsting for K-pop.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Perth is a huge Twice stan, especially he's like a Twice Japan line stan, which fits in with Perth's personality. As a Japanese learner and manga fan and stuff like that. Were you going to say which Perth, Pixie?
Yeah. I was thinking of that, and then you're just like, okay, Japanese. Yeah.
The only Perth we talk about here. We only talk about one Perth on this podcast.
Yep. Does Phoebe know who we're talking about?
Is it Perth The one in My Engineer, right?
Yeah, Australian.
Yeah. I saw his tweet about his love for Sada.
Yeah.
I thought it was really cute.
Yeah, he's a little. He's said so many times. He's like, I don't know about K-pop. I only know about Twice. And I was like, that. I feel like that's how it is for a lot of them. Like, they have one specific group that they will like get attached to. Where I feel like for me, like I am just involved in K-pop as a whole. So like I have my groups that I stan, but I feel like I'm involved in the K-pop fandom as a whole. So like I know the general happenings of what's going on in K-pop, even outside of what the groups I'd like, you know? But I think that's interesting because we've kind of asked, like we asked Boom from You're My Sky, who we just had on, like, are you a fan of K-pop? And he was like more Blackpink specifically. So I feel like they tend to pick out like specific groups that they kind of attach to and not necessarily K-pop as a whole.
I do think that some of the reason why some of these BL actors do have like one group they stan or something has something to do with their fans as well asking them because of the K-pop pipeline to BL. So they kind of get like forced to look at it because the fans are asking, have you seen this K-pop star? And you look so much like this K-pop star.
God, that's the thing that they do say, unfortunately.
They do.
Yeah, that has literally happened with Pavel in terms of Stray Kids and Felix.
Yeah, he was like, oh, people just asked me to react to them, and so he did, you know? I mean, that's something interesting to think about. How many people have gotten into K-pop groups because of their fans like asking them.
Yeah, I think that also happened with like J Park and Off. A lot of people have been tweeting that they look very, very alike. Yeah, there was a time, and because it got super huge, and then they noticed each other on Twitter. So I thought that was really cool as well.
Yeah, I do remember that.
That is so crazy.
Yeah, that's interesting how it leads to like those interactions between like the idol, the K-pop idol and the BL actor, because the fans are just like tweeting at the other party so often that they can't help but like interact with each other basically. I'm trying to think about that. I can't think of any other examples where that's happened off the top of my head. Like I wonder if the guy from Stray Kids has seen Pavel's not JYP, J Park, but Heather sent a chat off in JYP. J Park, the R&B artist. Often JYP lookalike.
Don't insult him like that.
Sorry, Off. I would never.
Oh my god.
But yeah, I was gonna say like
didn't Mew have any like interactions with some?
Mew did a collab with Sam Kim, who was one of my favorite
so surreal
Korean soloists. That was something I never expected to happen. But Mew released a collab song with Sam Kim, who is a Korean singer, which was wild, and it was a good song. But yeah, that was a really cool moment that I totally almost forgot had happened.
Yeah, I sort of feel like Mew has sort of tried to like get into the K-pop market. Like he's really like how he does the music videos and the music. It's very
K-pop-esque.
Very K-pop-esque. And like he got in trouble too because his generic music video.
Oh my god,
like
I forgot about that.
Group's generic music video. Did you hear about that, Phoebe?
No, not really.
What was it? It was probably NCT. I feel like it was NCT. It's always NCT.
Yeah.
It wasn't the entire group either. It was just one of the members.
Yeah, it was like someone's solo. Yep.
Yeah.
There it is.
Jaehyun did a cover of a Love song where the music video, he was just like walking in the street of I forget where they were. They were in some foreign country and they compared it to Mew's music video of him.
It was like a city. It was any city. Like, Mew did the same thing. He walked around the city. And these K-pop stars.
See, I saw the music video, but I didn't see the whole talk about it. I didn't see the comparison.
Didn't he have to like make an announcement about it? Mew?
Yeah.
Didn't he had to like make an official announcement because they were so
like, have like a big like
a press conference.
Yeah.
They did a press conference about it. That's
They
how much
did.
power end citizens have when it comes to
yeah.
That
taking
was
people out.
brutal. That's
Yeah.
how you get people talking shit about K-pop stans.
Yeah.
God, I almost forgotten about this, but when we were talking about it, I'm just like, oh,
yeah. I'd totally forgotten that happened, but that was like a huge thing. I remember I could not believe that he actually like had to set up a press conference to address the situation.
That was crazy.
Poor Mew. But yeah, that's something we were talking about, how like his marketing is kind of similar when he releases music to how K-pop idols market. I've noticed the same thing with like the box sets and stuff that a lot of shows do with like you get the photo cards or the Polaroids and stuff like that involved in if you order this box set or this photo book, like that feels very reminiscent of K-pop album packaging, because people will buy albums on albums on albums to collect the individual photo cards. And so I feel like BL has kind of taken a hint from that. Like the GMMTV ones that are coming out, they have like the mystery boxes that they're doing. They all come with like unique photo cards and Polaroids that you can get to like encourage people to buy more, to collect them all, which I feel like is very reminiscent of K-pop marketing.
I mean, even like the fan meets are very like K-pop.
Oh yeah.
Like I didn't know about fan meets before I like discovered K-pop. Like that's not a thing here. Like artists don't hold fan meets here. So I was so intrigued. and when I saw that they were doing this with like actors in BL, I was just like, what?
There's a lot of stuff that, like the holding cafe events for an idol's birthday, they started doing that for BL actors, and the photo exhibits that like
on-screen commercials.
Yeah, there's a lot of like marketing and fandom marketing. I guess that's kind of like marketing within the fandom.
Sending
to do like
trucks out. They started doing that as well.
Yeah, that's a big thing in Korean media. The food trucks and the coffee trucks, yeah. So I feel like it's definitely taking some hands from the K-pop Korean marketing.
So fascinating.
Bowl.
I wonder how much it costs to send like a
like food support truck and stuff like that. I've always wondered
if you did that here in Norway, like holy shit, it would be so expensive. Like just sending them a tray of coffee would be expensive.
And they'll send them trucks for like the whole day.
Yeah, I think that's why a lot of them are like funded by the entire fan base, the official
They'll
fan
take
base.
Like donations.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another thing is how some of the Thai groups, like the girl group SIZZY or SB5, seem to have a lot of K-pop influence, like a lot.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not super familiar with Thai pop as a whole and how long it has existed as like a form of like a popular form of music. I'm sure it existed as long as K-pop has, but I definitely feel like the marketing, it all comes back to the marketing. I feel like a lot of things have started taking hints from K-pop marketing as K-pop has hit the global scene so big these past couple years that like everyone is trying to do it now, and like doing debuts of their groups and MV teasers and all that kind of stuff. So
I think just the fact that actors are being put into singing groups is so K-pop. It's so K-pop. That like idea of wanting them to be well-rounded in terms of like their talent.
Yeah, it's like the opposite of how they do it in K-pop, where they put the singers as actors.
True.
Right?
All the idols go into the acting side, and we have actors going into the idol side.
They're trying to spread the money, like earn as much they can from them.
Yeah, it's basically like they want their artists to be as able to break into as many markets as possible, pretty much. So like if you can act and sing and dance, then we're gonna make you do all of them. Are there like, I wonder if there's any examples of like the what are they what is that show called that had like 101 and Omega, not Omega X, Produce, like those style, like elimination style shows. I wonder if there's like Thai versions of those that in the end result they get like a group coming out of them. I feel like Trinity did something similar, which was like the one that was also made up of a bunch of like Nadao actors. I feel like they kind of had like elimination style show type thing that formed the group, but I'm not entirely sure. But I don't think it's big, but they probably, but like they usually tend to like send their Thai actors to other countries, like they did with Nine.
Nine.
Yeah, and Patrick was also another Thai that was in it as well. So that is true. Yeah, it's big to send them to like other countries. That's true.
Yeah, and I don't know if you guys have seen the group for Mix.
Oh yeah, yes. I've seen a lot about them on Twitter.
Love for Mix. Yeah. I actually, for Mix, when I saw their music video at first, I did not get a K-pop vibe from them. I felt like I watched it and I was like, this is Thai pop. Like, this is the genre, a whole new genre.
Yeah.
I think it might be because of how they presented themselves as a group. I was like, something about it felt very authentic. And maybe part of it is because they have like an LGBT member.
Yeah.
And they have like a company that is, I guess, very open.
That's nice to see. That's something I wish we could see more in the Korean pop industry, but who knows when that'll actually happen.
Yeah.
If it'll actually happen.
Phoebe, have you had like a moment that felt very surreal where the two worlds of like K-pop and BL have collided and you've just been like, damn, like I can't believe this is happening right now, or like this interaction is occurring?
I think it's crazy to me how like we can be fans of fans, if that makes sense. Like with like Baon and Mark Twan, like the fact that he would like go as far as postponing his own fan meeting to go to like a GOT7 concert, or like I feel like my old Thai BL actor is like Pond from Fish Upon the Sky, and he's like a huge fan of NCT, and I think like those are like so mind-boggling to me, the fact that we can be fans who are also just like us, if that makes sense.
I always think it's cute when you see like a BL actor that has like I think like Supernut has like ARMY in his IG bio or something like that, and like Frank is also a big ARMY, and like not a BL actor but two from F4, she's like a K-pop stan in her Instagram bio, so I feel like those are moments that always really humanize them, and they're like, oh, they stan in the same way that we stan sometimes, and like putting their group's name in their bio and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, it gives us a familiarity with the actors. Like, I mean, I feel like K-pop idols, they kind of feel very far away with their lifestyles and their fame or whatever, but like with these actors, you kind of like, okay, they are doing the exact same things we are doing. It feels like more of a relationship there.
Yeah, like, there was a time where I would put like K-pop lyrics as my bio, and then I would see like Earth do it, and I'm like, we're on the same wavelength right now.
Yeah, Earth and all his like IG captions that always use K-pop lyrics, I always do the same thing, because I'm like, none of my IRL friends and family know where these lyrics come from, so it makes me look super like edgy, and they're like, wow, what song is this? But it's just like a K-pop,
just don't Google it.
Song.
I always think of that video of Earth dancing to Up and Down that went viral.
Oh my god, yes.
That was a moment.
Yeah. His K-pop covers, I am obsessed with them. I love his K-pop covers so much, and I love when he puts them out on IG.
Wasn't there another actor that Top Tap, right? That
Top Tap just put out a
cover.
He's such a good dancer.
Yeah. What did he just recently covered? Was it Favorite by NCT that he did?
NCT, it was good.
That was a cover. Like, I love that song, and then Top Tap dancing to it. Oh.
Doesn't Fiat do a lot of K-pop covers?
I think so.
Yeah, he used to. I remember seeing him cover a lot of NCT songs also.
A lot of the actors under Star Hunter who are in Gen Y have put out a lot of like group K-pop covers together, like the younger actors. They've done a lot of group covers of K-pop groups.
Yeah, that just reminds me, like, we've seen some like actors do some covers that are there's a lot to be desired for.
I always think about Gulf's performance of Yummy on the pool.
No, please.
We don't talk about it.
And then
I feel like there are some actors who can't should stay with acting.
That's true.
Who was it that tried to twerk but couldn't twerk?
Also probably Golf, honestly.
It wasn't Golf. No, it was someone else. I can't remember.
I think Ben from Two Moons.
Yes.
Ben from Two Moons 2 did it. There's a video of him trying to twerk, and it's used as a GIF in one of the BL servers. It's like him attempting to twerk, and it's just very it's certainly an attempt.
How come I've never heard of this? After this, I'm gonna like automatically like look it up. I've never heard of this before.
There's another hilarious one that I think it was the same event as Golf's, but it's Cow and some other people singing "How You Like That," the Blackpink song.
Oh,
and it's so funny. It's so funny. I think
of when Tool was on Lip Sync Thailand and he did the lip sync cover of the Blackpink song. That one was actually iconic.
That was so good.
Tool did the damn thing. He got in the costume. He had the wig on and everything. That was an example of it actually being done well.
Yes. I remember I saw like a reaction from Max watching Tool.
Yeah.
Doing that was so funny.
It's funny. Yeah, I think there were a couple times where people on Lip Sync Thailand covered K-pop songs. I can't think of them, but I think there was.
That's the only one that's in my head for obvious reasons. As a Max Tool stan, that video just lives in my head rent free at all times.
Yeah, I mean, I really like envy countries like the Asian countries who are sort of like the K-pop is sort of bleeding into the culture, which like we don't have that in Norway. The closest things that we came to like K-pop being mentioned, if it isn't BTS, is actually the King like when he had our King, when he had like President Moon and visiting him, he was just like in his speech he was just like, yeah, we would like you should get like BTS to come here to perform.
Why does that remind me?
Tell them.
Why does that remind me of Obama name dropping Shiny in a speech?
Yeah.
Moments like that.
That was great. Like they didn't come, but it was great.
They didn't come, but there was an attempt. Yeah,
I promise you, our King is like the most hilarious person ever. It's gonna be so sad when he dies. He's really old, but he likes to call himself Rex.
Okay.
His name is Håkon. Is his name Håkon? Is that his son? Sorry.
That's the King's name.
Sorry. But either way, like he likes to be called Rex, and he has like the best things he says. Like, I know I'm going on a tangent, but he's like, he does a lot of speeches too about like accepting people and accepting their sexualities, and like saying stuff like, if you're a boy, you're a boy. If you're a girl, you're a girl. No matter who you were born as, like, it's the mentality, and we're accepting everyone. And yeah, it's really nice.
That's nice
He's
to have
awesome.
in your leadership.
Mm-hmm.
Getting back onto the topic, he was talking about K-pop leading into like other countries, like music scenes and stuff. Weren't they going to do an NCT America unit, like a full of like American dudes that they were just gonna make like an NCT Hollywood? Yeah, they were gonna do like and I don't know if it's still happening, but I'm pretty sure that was an actual thing that like SM was gonna do.
Yeah. So that was kind of the response to that was kind of annoying to me, because people were automatically like, so we're gonna have white guys in a K-pop group, and I was like, well, no, Asian people
like
also live in America.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, we're here too, don't worry. But yeah,
I mean,
as far as I've seen,
white guys in a K-pop group, it's a boy band. Like,
That's One Direction.
Or One Direction.
One Direction.
Whatever.
That's just One Direction.
Yeah.
One Direction was the blueprint.
Like, literally. But yeah, my problem with that is that America has like Hollywood does all the time, has a habit of taking good movies and TV shows and trying to Americanize it, and it's so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like anytime any form of like Asian media gets popular in America, like Parasite or Train to Busan, they're like, let's do an American version of it. And I'm like, please don't.
Yeah,
don't make an American version of it. Watch the Korean version that's on Netflix with subtitles. Like, yeah. But I think, you know, America has a tendency to do that, but I feel like what we've seen of like K-pop culture bleeding over into like Thai media and Thai pop culture, it's been much more like respectfully done. Like, yeah, they're taking influence from it, but they're not just like outright taking this thing and making it, you know, if that makes sense.
There's some passion to it, instead of just like being money grabbing.
Exactly. There we go.
Yeah. I do you guys think that we'll see like a rise in BLs in Western countries?
I don't know. I feel like for Western media, it's a lot harder to define the line between BL and what people might consider queer media. Because there's a lot of things that I, growing up, like just considered like LGBT media or queer media, but then getting into BL, like people have called them like BLs. And in my brain, I'm like, I don't know. I feel like it's harder to draw the line with queer media just because I think a lot of elements of BL dramas are very specific to Asian media that we might not see crossing over into it being done in a Western sphere, if that makes sense. Like some of the editing choices and things like that are very specific to Asian media, that those things that make it a BL.
Follow-up question. Do you consider Young Royals to be a BL or queer media?
Queer media. I think of BL as Asian media because that's where it originated from. Yeah. So I think queer media.
Yeah. I mean, there is something to be said for like the countries, like Western countries, being more open to LGBTQ. Although it's not there at all. Like there's a lot of homophobia out there, but like it's more open, and people know that like you're not supposed to publicly shit on people in the queer community, like sort of thing. So I think like when they are making these TV shows and movies and stuff, they're sort of pulling in the community, the actual, like it's not like a fantasy world like you see in BL in Asian countries. It's more, it's like if you see like Scum and Young Royals, it's very much like real situations and like yeah. But I do think there's like people are getting confused with the rise of Asian BL. There is a confusion on what is BL and what is queer media.
Yeah, and I think, you know, another thing that we've kind of talked about before, as BL continues to grow and more people are coming in as fans and people being involved in the creation of BLs, we'll see more elements of queer media and LGBT media that we've seen used in like queer films in Thailand and Korea and stuff like that being pulled into the BL side of things, which does kind of make the line blur. But I do think there still are some very stark differences that are characteristic of BL that you don't necessarily get when you're watching like something like Scam or Young Royals. And I feel like that's kind of where the difference lies.
I think there's still like, unfortunately, some sort of like stigma against like Asian BLs. Like I know like Young Royals got super duper huge, but for some reason, like when it comes to Asian dramas, like even like the more popular BLs are like more on like the quote unquote straighter side, like Together, that one got super duper big compared to the other one, you know. So
but they're still not taken as seriously, I feel like, as like in the markets in other countries. I get what you're saying.
Definitely.
That can correlate to K-pop as well, because K-pop isn't taken seriously in Western media at all. Even with the amount of fans and people who love this, they're trying to make new categories for them in award shows, not let it, just so they don't have to put them in the main categories. It is so fucked up. And like you can see that with both K-pop and BL, anything Asian, honestly. So it's good. Like it's a fight to like, and I even like explaining to people BL and K-pop is really difficult here in Norway. Like people look at you. So I mean, when are we gonna get to a point where it doesn't have to be like a secret, if you know what I mean?
I don't know if we ever will, honestly, because I feel like as for as long as the world sees like the West as superior, stuff that doesn't come from like, and I think it's so stupid that like American media and stuff like that is considered like the focal point of media around the world, because I think our media overall is not that good. But I feel like the West as a whole is still seen as more developed and all of this stuff that I'm all putting in quotation marks for people who might be listening and not watching, you know, like all these lies that we've been made to believe about Western countries being superior. I feel like for as long as those continue to exist, media from outside of the West and anything from outside of the West is never going to be seen as normalized or taken as seriously as media coming from like Western countries, unfortunately.
Sadly, one of the biggest crossovers between the two is the xenophobia that both markets face. But yeah, our assistant said, will we see any Thai BLs remade as KBLs? And it reminded me not to bring up Jaehyun again because I love him. Poor him. But he was supposed to be in the Korean remake of that Thai, or it was originally a Korean movie, but then it was adapted into Do, the movie. And then now they were going to make it into a Korean series. He was supposed to be in that, and then they canceled it. Yeah.
I mean, the original series, like the original Korean one, I think was like involved a student-teacher relationship, which I don't know if they adapted into Do, which I have not seen because I heard it's really sad.
Yes. Yeah, they did. They did.
But yeah. And that's why it got canceled because
the original creator asked them to not do it because she is very religious now.
Right. Yes. I remember. And she was like, I do not approve of what I made at that time, basically. So I'd like to just like not have it be a thing again.
Well, I mean, fair.
Yeah. I don't know.
Like,
yes.
People grow, so it's important to respect their wishes, even if it's what they created. I mean, I don't know. I think like we're getting like the Thai version of F4 and Love Stage, and there was some talk about Together going to...
Yeah, another country was going to do a Together remake. Vietnam. Yeah, was going to do a Together remake. Which I don't know if that's still going to happen.
Yeah, I don't know either. We haven't heard anything, but it's like a huge project to take on when it's so popular, and you need to make that shit perfect, or people are gonna complain. But yeah, I there are plenty of shows they could do it with, but I think also that KBL is such a small thing still. Like, it hasn't been going on for a long time, and there's still such stigma in the country about, like, BL and just queer people in general. And I think the country needs to grow more before that becomes a thing. I think they have a lot of content that they can pull from already, so they don't have to go look for other shows kind of deal. Like in Thailand, it's more like, okay, they have done everything. They need to find some stories elsewhere.
The market is so oversaturated already.
Yeah.
They're like, might as well start pulling from elsewhere.
People are kind of sick of the engineering thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I think it's going to be far off if it's going to happen.
I think if we get a BL that truly hits, I mean, Together was pretty iconic in terms of its reach and popularity, but I think the reason why we've seen like F4 Boys Over Flowers has been adapted time and time and time again is that it has reached a certain level of like iconic status within the Asian drama sphere as a whole. And so I think if we see a BL that just like captivates audiences so much for whatever reason that it does hit that level of iconic status, then we might start seeing some other countries like take it on, and maybe Korea remake it. But I do think that like the Korean drama industry as a whole is already like big and thriving on its own. I feel like they would be more likely to kind of assimilate into the Korean drama industry than start like pulling from industries in outside countries, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and honestly, like the Korean BLs, the plot lines and stories are sort of superior.
Yeah, I mean, like, K-dramas are, if they can do one thing, it's have very interesting plots, and that's something that's, you know, where in Thai BL we see a lot of repetition.
Safe.
Yeah. Yeah, Heather said, I wonder if any K-pop idols are BL fans. And that's what I was thinking when we were like looking at this list, is we have so many moments of BL fans being K-pop fans. I would be really curious to know if any K-pop idols are BL fans.
I don't think they could ever be upfront about it with how the country is now, because if you go out saying you're a BL fan in Korea, they're gonna ask you, why do you like to watch BL, like love between two boys? Like, that's different from acting in a BL. Like, you're making a statement. If any K-pop artist goes out and says that they are a fan of BL, they're gonna be making a statement that they think two boys together is okay and good, and
yeah. I think if anything, we would see like maybe some of the actors who have been in Korean BLs say like, oh, I watched Together as a point of reference or something like that. But I don't know if, I mean, I'm sure there are K-pop idols out there who are BL fans, I would think, or, you know, with how closely like the industries are becoming tied, I would be surprised if there weren't. But, you know, I don't know if it's ever something that we would openly see them speaking about or posting about in that way.
Hold on. obviously likes BL. Like, but he's already openly queer, so yeah.
Yeah, the only K BL actor I can think of who has said that he watches BL is Chani from Light on Me. He mentioned a few BLs that he has watched, and he seemed really passionate about it, like very excited. So I do know him, but that's all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Oh, I wanted to specifically talk about this because it just happened a couple days ago. There was that video that came out of the K-pop group Only One Of reacting to Phoebe's new song. And I thought that was like a very interesting point of crossover. I know that Only One Of, I'm not too familiar with them, but I know that they have released a lot of music and music videos that is like heavily queer coded. And they have a lot of queer fans that have been kind of drawn to that. So I wonder if that's why that they were specifically like asked by that YouTube channel, I guess, to react to Phoebe's new song. Obviously, Phoebe, I don't think he's out, but Phoebe is queer, and I don't think he's ever hid that fact. So I thought that was a really interesting crossover.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, do they know he starred in a BL? Probably not.
Oh, do they know that Phoebe starred in a BL? Yeah, I feel like it would more just be, you know, as like a form of queer, a queer artist, like reacting to his music in that way. But I thought that was a really interesting crossover. A lot of people were really excited about it.
I was super surprised. I wasn't expecting it at all, and that it was really fun to see, like that BL actor that we've seen, and having his own music video and music song and everything being noticed by K-pop idols it feels kind of crazy. It's like Phoebe said earlier, we're like fans of fans, but then those fans are getting noticed by K-pop idols, and it's kind of surreal, the whole thing.
Yeah, that's the word I keep coming back to, is just how surreal it feels when some of these things happen, when worlds collide.
Yeah, I still have not, ever since we brought up Mew and Sam Kim collabing, I was like, that was my moment. That was like my surreal moment where I was like, I cannot believe this is happening. Like, Mew and Sam Kim is still something that like does not process in my mind.
Mew knows his fans and he has ambition.
Yeah, that's very true.
If he can get it through.
Hey, I'm here for it. If they're all going to be good, I'm here for it.
Yep. Are there any other crossover type moments that you guys wanted to talk about, or that you could think of? I feel like we covered a lot of them.
On our list, it says the Bam Bam and Bright interaction. What was that? I haven't heard of that.
It was kind of like an interview, actually, I think. It was like, because at that time, Bam Bam recently won an award, and Bright and Win recently won an award. And so they had like this interview interaction where they actually, it wasn't even an interview. They like did rock, paper, scissors and then played charades. Like that was basically the entire video. Yeah. It was really interesting because Bam Bam, you never see Bam Bam speak in Thai. You always see him speak in Korean. So I thought that was very interesting. That was really nice.
I mean, Bam Bam is like super, super famous in Thailand, which like makes sense. So, I mean, in Thailand, him, you know, while we might not see them on the same level, him and Brightwin are probably basically on the same level of celebrity status. So that's
in Thailand,
yeah, in Thailand, in the Thai view of the Thai people, I feel like.
That's crazy.
Yeah, somehow I didn't hear about that one at all.
I had no idea that had happened, honestly.
I do not know how I didn't know about this. That's so crazy.
I'm never in the loop with things.
I love Bright.
Me too.
Yeah, I was gonna say your TikTok name is Let's Stay Together, so I would.
Oh
assume...
yeah, it was actually Let's Be Together first, and then I wanted to have like a K-pop reference in it as well. So the Stray Kids fandom is Stay, so I changed it to Let's Stay Together.
Nice,
which is perfect for this episode.
Yeah.
I also. This just reminded me that you went to the Twice concert, right?
Oh yeah, I did. Oh, I'm literally using their sweatshirt right now.
Yes.
Yeah, I actually didn't plan on going. I went because my boyfriend Alt, he loves Twice, and we recently actually just finished watching I Told Sunset About You together, and he's willing to watch the second season, so
hell yeah,
I'm excited for that.
Nice.
But yeah, he's obsessed with them, and that's why we went to the Twice concert.
Oh, I'm jealous.
That's so cool. I am so jealous. Like if I could share any of like my BL or K-pop love with my boyfriend, it would be amazing. But he refuses.
He slowly eased it in.
I got him to watch like Parasite, and I got him to watch Squid Game, which is a start for a man who refuses to watch anything that isn't in English or Norwegian.
You got the family in on the ground level with Korean food, so you're slowly but surely working them into it all.
My kids are getting eased into this from a young age. I refuse to let them grow up without accepting K-pop in their lives.
They will be K-pop stans.
The indoctrination, that's funny.
Phoebe,
that just made me think my brain just said the yassification of
the yassification.
My family, yeah. I just wanted to ask Phoebe, I'm really curious, how did you like get started doing like K-pop and BL content on TikTok?
I think it was just because like the pandemic hit, and I recently downloaded TikTok, and then I was scrolling, all of the content on my For You page is BL, and I was like, I want to do this too. I want to do this too. So I eventually started to do it, and then I started to become mutuals with other TikTok creators. Like I'm sure you guys know like Paris and Emma.
Yes.
And I got really close to like Cami. I don't think she really makes TikToks anymore right now. But I got really close to a lot of them, and that's how I spent most of my time in quarantine.
I can imagine. Yeah, I get that. Like, we all had to find new ways. Like, we started this podcast in the pandemic.
Yeah.
So
it was our pandemic baby.
And we've been doing it for over a year, almost every weekend.
We've released, well, yeah, I guess we did take a break. So I was going to say we've released an episode every week, but if you count our break, then we didn't release an episode every week. But hey.
Dude, we had a month break and we still filmed
recording
twice. Yeah.
I do that too, though. Like, I tell myself that I need to study because I'm still in school. I need to take a break. And then I'm like, it's like 12 a.m. and I'm like, no, I gotta film something. I can't.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, it's like a brain worm.
I save all
like
my opinions for the podcast. Like, if I think about something, I'm just, I need to hold this in until we do the podcast.
Same.
Turn it all into content.
Yeah.
That is how I do the same thing with like TikTok. Like, I will think of like trending sounds if I'm just on like my regular For You page and I'm like, oh, gotta save this on the podcast account so we can make it into a TikTok. Like,
oh yeah,
the content creator mindset, man.
Yeah,
I think it also serves as like an outlet to like talk about your interests because like I feel like my Instagram is there's too many locals on there, but whereas TikTok I can be free, do whatever, say whatever.
Yeah.
Which is like this, I guess you could say.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like I've gotten more into especially the BL fandom since we started doing this. Like, it makes me feel more connected to
For
like the
everyone.
community and stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's really hard to like find a place where you can be comfortable to discuss like BL and stuff. And I feel like with TikTok and with some of the Discord servers and like finally some more creators popping up, it sort of like gives us more space to enjoy it together. And it makes it more fun to watch too, now that
for
there's
sure.
so many shows that you kind of get a little bit fatigued.
Yeah, there's quite a few shows where I've been like, I would not normally watch this, but like we're going to talk about it on the podcast, or we're going to review it on the podcast, so I have to watch it.
Yeah, I've had a couple of ones where we had a review to do, and I'm just like, I'm trying to get through this, but I can't. I need to stop.
Oh, flashing back to Nitty Man.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I didn't even get through Don't Say No, so yeah, I liked it halfway, and then it started like becoming some weird plot stuff. And I'm just like, oh,
we all know how I feel.
fell
After they killed Popture, it was all downhill from there. It's all downhill from there. R.I.P. Popture.
Oh.
And on that note.
On that note, okay, one more thing, because Heather brought it up. Do you have any crossovers between certain actors and K-pop idols that you like wish would happen, or that you think would be really cool if it happened? Maybe like two people who seem like they would really fit together or interact well.
Do you mean like in a drama, like co-star together?
So I
like
guess
any kind of crossover.
Yeah. Any kind of crossover. Like if these two people interacted, it's like your world would be made.
Oh, that's a good. I have to think about this.
Yeah, me too.
While we all take a awkward pause while we all think.
Heather said Key, Shiny, and PP. That would be an interesting interaction. I don't know what they would interact with. Maybe it would be fashion. That's like the one thing that would probably bring them together.
Yeah.
I know Key is very big on like his drunk lives, so I think it'd be very interesting if they did like a drunk live together. I think that'd be very cute.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, that would be so fun.
I do love Key's drunk lives.
Okay, so I would really like to see like Top Tap and, as an example, like Jungkook from BTS dance together. Yeah.
I don't know. It's hard for me because a lot of my favorite K-pop, like my two favorite groups are BTOB and Day6. So like both very like vocal heavy groups. So I feel like if anything, it would be like an idol doing, or like a K-pop artist doing like a cover of one of their songs, or them like collabing on a song. But I don't know if I'm trying to think of a K-pop or a Thai actor that I think would be at that vocal caliber that would be able to keep up with B2B or Day6 vocals, and I'm like blanking on it. B2B, Heather says B2B and all the Domundi boys on a variety show. Ooh. That would be very interesting because B2B has very chaotic energy, and I feel like the Domundi boys would just be like half naked the whole time, like they thought
every Domundi show is just them
the shirts come off.
Oh my gosh, that'd be funny.
The chaos level would be through the roof, though. Like the producers of that show, and I would feel sorry for them.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Do
you have?
I feel like a lot of K-pop groups do like video calls. So, and you know how like when if you're a fan, you like post about your video call. I've always wanted to see like a BL actor like try to win and then post their video call. I think that would be very cute.
That would be really cute. God, those calls are like, the amount of albums you have to buy to get into those calls now is like insane.
Yeah, I could speak firsthand about that.
Wasn't there a Thai actress who got into a bunch of fan calls like before she really blew up as an actress? I think that was a thing on Twitter. The other day, where people were like, "Oh, I recognize her because she had fan calls with this group." I can't remember the details.
That's crazy.
I'll have to see if I can find it on Twitter after this.
Yeah, that's.
I still need to look up Ben twerking. Like that's my priority after this. That's my own.
Just remember, record yourself, TikTok, reaction, content.
Milk and Sugi at a photo shoot. That would, my little gay heart would not be able to handle that.
I would argue Milk and Yeri myself. Okay. But
that energy.
Yeah.
Yeah, Heather's going crazy in the chat here. Like,
Heather's like,
she could probably just join us.
Every time I'm like, okay, we can wrap up. I'm like, no, but this is actually really interesting, and I want to. Well, yeah. That being said, that's it for this week's episode. Thank you again, Phoebe, for coming to talk with us. It's always very cool and surreal when two worlds like BL and K-pop collide.
Thank you for having me. I felt like I was kind of awkward, but
no.
So yeah, if you enjoyed this episode, please rate, review, and follow us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, and share this episode with your BL-loving friends. Did you know we have a merch shop? You can find it at lovecastthepodcast.com. We have hoodies, stickers, shirts, and tote bags. And finally, if you'd like to support the podcast and help us to continue creating and releasing episodes, you can join our Patreon, where you'll receive exclusive access to extra content like my reaction videos, Pixie's audio chapters of BL novels, and Alexa's character analyses, along with behind-the-scenes clips from interviews, podcast recordings that didn't make it into the final episode, and more. And again, thank you for joining us this week. We want to know everyone's thoughts on this topic, so don't forget to jump into our Discord server or comment down below. But until next time, thank you again for sitting with us, and goodbye.
Bye.
And we'll put all of Phoebe's links down in the description so you can check out her.
Yes, we will.
Thank you.
Yes. Should have added that.
Phoebe, do you have any questions before we start?
Not really. I was just planning on winging it. We'll see how it goes.
We like winging
That's my strategy for everything.
Yep. That's fine.